called When Life Happens. Good day, everybody. I want to thank all the people who tune in afterwards and let you know that when we're doing our trainings here, we're thinking of you as well. Taking your questions and comments from the weeks and the days ahead before we do our training. And I'm here with Timoteo. Good morning, sir.
Morning.
So we were just going to touch on a couple of topics. And one of them is, I titled it, When Life Happens. So when life happens, that's one of those situations where we usually find ourselves double booked, overscheduled, unexpected things that have to take priority, and you've already made commitments, and what do you do? So I had one of those days yesterday where there was so much pressure. It was ridiculous. And it's important for us to take a couple of seconds, 60 seconds is 1 minute, and take that time out, because we have this fear of lack mentality that I just have all these new things that are on my plate. Now I really don't have time to set myself right before I go into something else. So that is called a fear of lack mentality. And if you find yourself doing that, you're in good company. But try to observe ourselves and say, yeah, all day long I should have been taking a minute, because at the end of the day, it wound up taking me 3.5 hours longer to complete a project. And I know for a fact that when I do my calibrations before I go into the next thing, everything goes along smoother. So I'm going to remind you, check out on the YouTube channel here. Timoteo's awesome in posting our videos. The calibration activity. I walked through it at length, just getting a lot of details more as a teaching, and also, when I'm doing the guidance. But when we get into the habit of doing this, it doesn't take 5 minutes. You can actually start calibrating as you're sitting down, as you're getting ready. And most people know, who are practiced, 3 breaths. 1 breath can do it, but 3 solid, 3 intentional breaths, boom, calibration, because it's an involuntary action. Breathing, we don't think, oh, I need to breathe now. But if you have trouble breathing, then you start thinking about it. But what about when you don't have trouble and you think about it? That's taking mastery over the vessel. That's power. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for our own power, and making a good choice like that increases our chi. It increases the life force inside of our vessel. So when we do interact with people, they recognize that we're a powerful being, even without saying anything. Don't believe me, test it for yourself. People will just make comments. They're just drawn to you. Oh, you seem so nice. Oh, you have such good energy. Oh, I don't usually say this to people I don't usually know. I feel so comfortable with you. That's what you want. It's in the beingness. So all the action steps are a lot of effort, and many times don't really come to the fruition that they could, or at all, without properly calibrating beforehand. That's why I teach it first. That's why I teach it always, because I've been through decades of putting in a tremendous amount of education, information, and effort into something, focused effort, and not have it turn out. Talk about getting your attention. After everything that I did, I followed all the steps. I was totally dedicated. Why didn't it happen? Why didn't it happen like it did for somebody else? Because they're not teaching calibration. Now, some people are naturally charismatic. Woohoo! I can just say stuff and people follow me. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the X factor. I'm talking about the majority of the people. Talking about you and me really wanting something. And then all we learn is how to want for something. That's rough. I want a customer. I want a business partner. I want to feel better. So do the calibration. And then instead of having a focus of wanting, we have a focus of asking what is needed. What is needed for others. My needs are always met when I take care of others. Always. Do you believe that? If you don't, might be reflected in your life. Got to check it out. I absolutely believe that. And now my new knee-jerk reaction is everything is always working out for my best interest, especially when it doesn't seem like it. So that's my little segment on when life happens, because it does happen. And yesterday was one of the hardest days that I've had all year, if not the hardest day I've had all year. So the irony is that I got to see that. Well, why did that happen? And what can I do to make that better? And being an observer, not a blamer, it's your fault. It's because of this. I'm just a victim. I had no choice. I had to do it. No, we always have a choice. And it may seem really unpleasant and inconvenient at the time that we need to make the choice, but that usually is the best choice. And only the aligned self, the centered self, will be able to receive this communication through a tuned pineal gland, and you will have clear divine communication. And that really makes it a lot easier for me to decide, what do I want to do next? Do I want to follow this divine communication, which I heard clearly, but my ego mind, it has other ideas, and it's really loud and annoying. It could be a little bit of a bully sometimes. And its biggest factor, the ego mind's biggest factor, is called logic and reason. Oh, what a dirty trick. So how do you know when to override logic and reason? That doesn't seem logical. That it seems like you'd be out of the way. It seems like that would take longer. That would cost more. That's not logical. So those are all reasons that the conscious mind will present when the subtle voice of divine communication is suggesting, how about if we go this way? It's really subtle. And then the ego mind kicks in. Oh, no, we need to go that way because we have this reason and that reason. And there's like 5 more reasons. And you see how important these reasons are. You know these reasons. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. And this dialogue is going on with us. So when life happens, got to calibrate and listen to the soft voice that speaks once. So that's my segment on when life happens. To Matteo, do you have any examples of when life happened to you and how you navigated through it?
Oh, no, because most of my life, and I'm learning through what you're talking about. But most of my life, everything has to do with logic and reason because I deal with a lot of people and we have to keep them in a box. And I work with a lot of box and checklists so that everything falls into place. And if anything's out of place, then it's easily recognizable. And then we can attack and address and correct and then continue to move on. So I'm definitely got a lot of logic and reason to, I guess it has a lot to do with ego too. So you say, but that for me, that's my safe place. But I do think outside the box. I think about the other way to do things, right? So that's what I think what makes me unique at my job because they say it this way, but then I challenge the standard and say, well, let's look at this and we can approach it this way. And it's been accepted. So it's not so rigid because we deal with a lot of people and a lot of things aren't black and white. And yeah, that's how I
Yeah,
do.
systems definitely are a great tool. Systems are a great tool. I like systems. I had many clients where my task was to create systems for them in their functionality. However, in our personal lives, and a lot of these, they're the entrepreneurs, so they're the decision makers. I'm involved with another company, and they have a lot of rigid systems. that I have to follow, when I interact with them. And I constantly mention like why this isn't a good idea. And they just love me. There has to be somebody like me. Come on. So it's important for us to challenge the systems, be the observer of them. If they work, then work them. No tool works if you don't work it. But it's important for us to challenge the systems, because what we're seeing now is there's a lot of systems that have been in place for many, many decades, hundreds of years possibly, and those systems didn't work. They never worked. They're still not working. And we're so used to them. It's just the way it is. Well, it wasn't always that way, but we don't remember that, or there's no history of that, or we're not being reminded of that. So it is important to challenge the systems and modify. One little modification. So for my personal systems, now those are structures within certain businesses. But my personal systems, for example, is at my desk. I keep my supplements because this is where I am. It's where I spend most of my time. And every time I get up from my desk, it's a transition period. And I call it the slippery slopes of transition. In life, when we jump out of the system into a transition in life, that's when who knows what is going to happen. I'm not here and I'm not there. So I'll give you an example of the slippery slopes of transition. Let's just say I get up to go get a supplement. But while I'm up, I might as well, just make myself a smoothie because that's logical. I need to do that. How efficient of me since I'm already up. And while I'm waiting for my smoothie, I'll do some dishes. And next thing you know, what happened? I'm totally off task. I'm not off task when everything is at my desk. I got my tissues at my desk. I got my water at my desk. Got my phones, my chargers, my this, my that. So I create the systems because I recognize that every time I get up, I have shiny syndrome. Like, oh, what's that? Oh, the plants need watering. Oh, it just take a minute. So slippery slopes of transition. Try to set up systems where you're piggybacking on something that you're already doing that's guaranteed. So in the morning, if you want to start some affirmations or something like that, you want to make some modifications, New Year's coming up. How about attaching something to brushing your teeth or something that you do every day? When I first got this female mentor, she told me, she says, I think you need to meditate. You seem a little excitable. Me. And I said, I'm so busy. I don't have time. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I multitask all day long. You wouldn't believe how busy I am. Most people get tired listening to me tell them what I've done in an hour. Okay. She said, well, do you go to the bathroom? I said, yeah, everybody goes to the bathroom. She goes, make that your meditation. Do one thing only. Don't think about anything else while you do that one thing. So if I'm washing my hands and that's my meditation, then I'm feeling my fingers, I'm feeling the soap, I'm feeling the temperature of the water, I'm feeling the friction, I'm noticing the lather, I'm just 100% attention on one thing. So I did that for a while and I felt that it did calm me down. My mind was not as busy. But then I started actually using it as a time of gratitude. And, so what am I doing here? I'm releasing what no longer serves me. So then I used it as a symbol. When I'm in the restroom, nobody bothers me there. It's amazing. If I tell them I'm going to the bathroom, they do not follow me. They're like, okay. So I have this time. And I decided to use this as a time of gratitude. I am so grateful that my body is so high functioning and it knows what no longer serves me. And I am able to release it both physically and energetically. And so it is. When I flush that toilet, it's done. So I command myself in that way. And I don't list a bunch of things. Oh, I'm letting go of of, procrastination, and I'm letting go of it. I don't do that. That's a specific, if you're going to do that, that's a specific like full moon ceremony or something. I'm just talking about every single time you have do an activity, be grateful for it. When I rode a Harley Davidson for 21 years. Before I got on the motorcycle, I used to pray that I would have a, please that I may have a safe and uneventful ride. And then I learned how to pray. And then I was like, oh, that's not how it works. I'm asking for something that's already given. So let me say thank you for it because it's already done. Energy before action. So thank you for this wonderful, safe, and uneventful ride. That's it. And then it's up to me not to do anything stupid. Just saying. Yeah. But I'm already communicating with non-physical energy. I'm giving thanks for something, and so it is. And if I believe it, we're healed to the degree of our faith. How much do I believe that? Do I really believe that I'm safe and protected? Do I really believe that my body has the ability to function highly? What do I need to do to help this out? So having my pH balanced chocolate shake. Yay! Why? Because I learned something. Most disease can't live in a pH balanced environment. So let me start with something easy. Get some pH in me. If the body's 70% water, and I get the water right, then I'm 70% pH balance. That's pretty good odds, for like the progress that I could make. So life is going to happen. How do we respond to it? And how do we make some modifications and possibly build some systems that aren't too constrictive? Got to stay in the flow. So one of the things I do for my shake is I have these mini mason jars, and I line up 7 or 14 of them, and I make my concoction. So this actually has 4 different kinds of mushrooms in it, and it's got some coconut milk in it. I've got some MTC oil. I add some little goodies in there. I put it in ahead of time, and then I just open my jar and dump it because I'm busy. I'm on a Zoom call. I gotta go. So find ways to support ourselves, create systems for when life happens, because life will always happen. How's that?
Sounds great.
All right. Now, this is a specific question from somebody really, really important on my team. So I'm going to title this topic, this segment, Build Trust with Transparency. What does that mean? Why do we even need to build trust? Well, we always talk about building rapport. So this is an element in how to build rapport. Making a connection by stating the obvious can sometimes be your foot in the door. Making a comment on somebody else's post. Wow, I'm so glad that you mentioned that. I was looking for some information like this. I usually would put 2 replies because there's going to be 2 notifications there. It makes me a little bit more visible. Again, it's called the drip. So then my second note would be, how long have you been doing this? Not about what they're talking about, but about them. I'm asking them about what they're talking about them. Is it tricky? Is this too tricky? I'm not asking about the thing that they're talking about. I'm talking about their relationship with the thing. Did you used to have this condition? Is that why you're doing that? Question mark. I'm asking about them. If I don't ask about them and I'm just dancing around the subject, oh yeah, I have the red one and the green one. It's not them. So when we want to build rapport, try to ask questions about them pertaining to the topic. Asking good questions is the magic. Really is. I studied with an energy teacher for 13 years, and I felt like a genius around him because he would ask me a question that was so good I felt like the answer was obvious. So he would say, for example, I'm a professional vocalist and I'm performing consistently. And he says, okay, so you want to know why your gig turned out the way that it did? You're performing to the audience. Yes. And he says, okay, look at the energy of the audience. What do you see? I never asked the question. I know there's an audience there, and it seemed logical that I would be performing to them because they're the ones paying to come in this, venue. That's not what my teacher said. He said, never, never, never sing to the audience. It's a mixed bag of energy at best. Always sing to God. And then the people get the benefit of the backflow. It's going to be a much better performance. And so I didn't believe him. I tested it for myself and I found it to be true. It was a good question, which led me to change the way that I live. And now I'm with everybody in the audience having the benefit of the experience because I chose how to perform. Seems like a subtle difference, but it made all the difference in the world. Ask good questions. You'll get good answers. There's another guy I work with. He goes, and if you play dumb games, you win dumb prizes. So I like that. But I kind of shifted it a little bit. If you ask dumb questions, you get dumb answers. So try to ask good questions. Ask about them. And because it's in the subject that they're making public, it's a safe zone. Did we get that? Ask about them. So moving on. Vulnerability. So I said, build trust with transparency. Being vulnerable and being confident in our vulnerability, that's pretty impressive. Most people are shameful or guilty. They don't own their shit. But if we own it and everybody has it, now we're relatable. So that's when I'm asking my team, write down those couple of paragraphs about the worst time in your life. I will help to condense it into something that's not as detailed and fully emotionally charged. So when you say this saying, when you're relatable to the other person, because I've been through something too. So for example, I don't mention any conditions. I don't say, arthritis or diverticulitis or anything like that for a couple of reasons. One is you're talking about medical terms and you're looking for trouble with the FTC. So just stay away. But more importantly, if somebody doesn't have that specific condition, then they're not in the conversation. So, but if I say suffering and my body and, inability to do simple things, I didn't leave anybody out. That could be somebody who just can't recover from their sports routines. It doesn't mean that they have, a disease. It means that body's out of alignment and they're feeling something that they have to manage, and it's having an effect on their ability to navigate life the way they choose to. So being relatable in a really transparent way with the vulnerabilities, you've been through it, you're on the other side, and you're speaking with this confidence that it has no power over you now. That's pretty cool. I want my condition to not have power over me because it's all I talk about every day. It consumes my life every day. I have to do this, and I have to do that, and I can't do this, and I can't do that. I don't have enough people calling me saying, hey, here's what I got. Here's my before, here's my after. That's my forte. I'm really good at this. This is the biggest gift that I can give to you, because when you ask me for scripts, all you do is you calibrate. This is your script. You use it again and again and again. I know what it feels like to suffer. I know what it feels like to not be able to do the things I wanted to do, and to have a lot of co-pays and take a lot of prescriptions that didn't help, and then have to take more and more co-pays. And it went on for years. Can anybody relate to that? You ever have a copay and then you had to take pills that didn't work for long periods of time? Large majority. So if you know what your before is and you know you're suffering of it, you can make some general terms. You can generalize it, but still really powerful and emotionally charged. I have a story to tell my team when we're not recording, because not everybody thinks it's as funny as I do. But for those who want to know the story offline, ask me about when I was presenting at the ladies' luncheon in La Jolla, California. All right. I'll stop laughing about that now. Transparency. What does it mean to be transparent? How can you build trust with transparency? One, I told you about the vulnerability. Strengthen the vulnerability. How about this one? Oh, I'm making notes. How about being honest? What? I'm always honest. Really? How honest? Really, really honest? Are you honest enough to tell people why you're even communicating with them? Or are you going to sneak up on them? How direct and honest can you be? I mean, it's really going to shorten the conversation if it's a no-go. But can you come across people who it's good to be direct? I'm looking for people who want passive income, helping people get healthy. Do you know anyone? That's really blunt. I'm looking for people who want to make passive income, helping people get healthy, getting healthy and helping others do the same. It's really short. It's really direct. Have you tried it? How direct can you be? Yeah, I noticed you're into health and fitness today. I'm looking for people who, are interested in passive income while they get healthy and help others do the same. Interested? Do you know anyone? Do you know anyone who's interested? That's actually important. Not to say, are you interested, but do you know anyone who's interested? It takes the pressure off of them, so you're not directly attacking them. And this is a script. I noticed, blah, blah, blah. I'm looking for, blah, blah, blah. Do you know anyone? Have you tried that one? What happens? Do they answer? Do they not answer? Do they want you to sneak up on them? Just asking. What would it be like to be really honest? I just started doing this a little bit more in the last month. I have a new saying. I didn't know I have a new saying, but I've heard myself say it a lot of times. So my saying is, I have 0 minutes for that. I have 0 minutes for that. Whatever it is, somebody's telling me a story and there's an unfortunate part of the story. You can give me 3 sentences in about 15 seconds that will tell me enough about how bad it was. And then after that, then they're reliving it. And then they're drawing me into their drama and their story. And it's like I'm watching a TV show that's really live, and these people have these emotions that are building up. And as they tell more details, and then their emotions get more, and then no, thank you. I'm willing to listen to the scenario, not willing to listen to the drama. I have 0 minutes for that. Thank you for sharing that part of it. But after you said that, you didn't need to tell me anymore. You made your point. I got it. I'm a little too direct sometimes, I confess. Hi, my name is Viv. But when I say it in a nice way, I have 0 minutes for that. And I laugh sometimes because I just am not interested. Oh, conversation. Did you hear about so-and-so and this and that? I was like, this sounds like gossip. I have 0 minutes for that. Oh, we're going to go here. We watched this movie and blah, blah, blah. You're going to, when I go to the Zoom, I'm like, nope, I have 0 minutes for that. I never do that. I never do that activity. I never do that. We're going to go out and we're going to stop in here. We're going to have some cocktails here. And then we're going to go over there. We're going to have dinner and some more cocktails. And then we're going to go out dancing. We're going to have some more cocktails. No. Sounds like fun if you just left out all the cocktails. But do I have the interest in being with a group of drunken people and being the only sober person there? I have 0 minutes for that. I don't do that to myself anymore. I'm not going to be the only person who's interested in health and wellness and I have nothing to say to anybody because 1, they're too drunk. 2, they don't care. 1, they don't care. You don't even have to have 2. So I have 0 minutes for that. We get to decide how we want to spend our time. So try to be a little bit more honest, a little bit more direct. See what that transparency does for you. See if people go, wow, that's interesting. When I was doing an interview, I was interviewing 100 people, and this one lady said to me, and I said, how many hours a week would you dedicate to this? And she says, 0. Do you know how many 0 is? And I thought, wow, if I didn't really know this lady, I would think, whatever. But she was being really direct, and I heard her and I understood her, and I respect her for that. And I still talk to that lady, and we still laugh about it. And now I say, I have 0 minutes. Kind of got it from her, but I didn't realize it until about a month ago. And that was probably 2009 that she said that to me. So you never know, might be something good. So we've got that. That was direct, being direct. Okay. And then the other question was, about how to get in and build transparency and take it, into something personal. Again, I'm very direct. I ask him, can I ask you some personal questions? You can say no. Usually everybody says yes, sure. I'll say, you can ask, I might not answer. But the conversation's over. Can I ask you some personal questions? How old are you? I'm asking because you look so young, but you sound so wise. There's nothing wrong with throwing in some compliments. If you're asking some personal questions, might prime the pump. How many days a week do you exercise to keep your body looking that way? You can ask them some personal questions. I'm interested. And then I might drop it on, and I was like, wow, I like everything that you're saying. I got to be honest with you. I'm looking for people like you. And let them say, what are you looking for? So there's the reach. What are you looking for? Why are you looking for people like me? For what? What's your thing? What are you selling? I'm selling happiness. How much would you like? And what's your budget? So that goes back to my training when I was saying be creative in your titles. You know, what do you do? I sell happiness. How much do you want and what's your budget? That's kind of fun. It just rolled off the top of my tongue just now. But there's an idea. You want to draw people into your conversation. You sound like you're interesting. It's not the same thing I've heard. You may never say the same thing to another person again, but if it works, do it. You know, try some stuff. I like that rainbow maker, and I like that lady retire my husband expert. Those people are clever. They're having fun. Do you have a husband that needs retiring? That's pretty clever. So, how much fun are you having in the process? How clever are you being? It's more challenging, of course, when it's a text. So, as soon as I can possibly get onto a call with somebody, I'm looking for that voice. And again, transparency. You know, I like what I'm hearing you. I like what you're saying. I read your messages. I like what you're saying. Would you be open to having a conversation on what's that? What do you call it? The messenger. That way, it's just somebody that you're friends with. They're like, I'm not asking you for your number. I'm just like, would you mind? I'm like, I'm not as good. I'm much better on the phone. That's me. And I tell people I'm better at answering the phone than dialing it. I tell on myself, if you call me, I will answer. I promise you. But I'm gonna do this. I gotta take my thing. You're like, oh my gosh, where did the time go? So I tell people I'm better on the phone. Would you mind? Could you spare? Would 15 minutes be an inconvenience for you? How about 10? And then I didn't even, wait for them to answer about 15. I just decrease it to how about 10? As if they're reading me thinking. Would you be open to a voice call? Just ask. Tell them, I want to hear more from you. But this is hard for me. I can listen faster than I can read. What do you want to text them? I listen faster than I read. I also, I do better with voices. I'm old fashioned and like humans. We get too much in our head and we just forget about this human factor is the thing. We feel the pressure of, I'm in my working hours and I want it to be as productive as possible, basically. But that creates a pressure, and that pressure stops the flow. And the flow is about just say the right thing at the right time. You're relaxed. You just like people. I like people. I like this one. I like that one. Actually, there's a couple people I don't really care for. I'll probably never reach out to them again. And I just delete them and I unfriend them too. I have to unfriend somebody every time somebody wants to friend me because I'm maxed out. So I'm more selective on who I'm friending. Once you get to that point, you're like, shit, I can't even get a friend because I got too many. Who are these people? How did they get here? I don't remember friending them. Their profile. So unfriend people. Profiles disabled. That's an easy one to unfriend. They don't have a profile picture. They don't have a picture of their cat or anything. There's no picture. Unfriend. I don't know who you are. You're too mysterious. If you can't put up, a picture of something up there, your dog, anything, is what am I doing? Why am I reaching out to this person? Probably not. Off, 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 off. Just scroll through and start deleting people. Know that you're valuable. Your real estate's valuable. Like, if you're on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, you interact with those by liking and commenting and following or whatever it is that you do there. That's your participation, and you're telling the universe and the algorithms what to bring more to you. So I like being anonymous. I love being anonymous. I just do what I do, and I don't want any data collection on me. But that is not the world that I live in right now. I'm in this dimension where data collection is the most valuable commodity, because the most valuable commodity is humans. We don't want to think of ourselves as humans, but anybody who has a birth certificate, you're a commodity. That's it. Nice and simple. So we live in the environment. What are you going to do? Use the tool. Don't be used by the tool. Yes, it's collecting data on me. I can decide how much and when and where. I reduce the amount of information I have on my profile and location tracking and all that other stuff. You can do that too, but use the tools. How else are you going to connect with people? You got to connect with people, and we're in the digital age. So use the tools, and then go organic. You don't have to stay in the tool. Talk to people offline, have a conversation with them, teach them about organic. What is organic? Let's have an organic alliance. This is pretty cool. So there's a lot that we all have to teach each other in this group, and I'm super, super grateful. Hopefully that's enough gold nuggets for today. Does everybody feel satisfied? I can't hear you from the future, but I think you nodded. Well, there's some chunks, there's some chunks of stuff there. Hopefully, just play it back, and we have When Life Happens and Build Trust with Transparency. Cool.
Great.
Meanwhile, are we off next week, or are we on next week? Timoteo, you get to decide.
Let's do it.
All right. I love it. I love it. So same time, same place. Timoteo Zoom is happening Saturdays, 10 a.m. Pacific. 11, 12, 1. It's not Atlantic. It's East Coast, 2 Atlantic, 12 Central. And Arizona is getting on my nerves with this flip-flop thing. I'm Mountain, I'm Pacific. I'm Mountain, I'm Pacific. All right, that's enough of the goofball stuff for today. Thank you, Timoteo. Thanks everybody, the Alliance. Appreciate your comments in the chat. Feel free to, private message me, call me up. Let's set some 3-way calls. Let's do some modeling. Let's do some role play. Let's get some scripts for you, some things that you can just feel comfortable. You just carry those with you all the time. And you'll get new scripts all the time. So I'm a transformation authority, turns out. So one of my clients said, it's like a transportation authority. I just tell you where I want to go and you help me get there. So have fun with it. Happy holidays. I will see. Actually, today is a holy day, right? 12/21. So leverage this. Try to keep yourself as blissed out today as possible, focused on the things that make you most happy. And that should set the tone for the next 3 months. And these are what are called energetic portals. And paying attention to the environment that the body is in, not just the house that I'm in or the city where I live and how much smog, or do I live by power lines, but the environment is also, you got Mercury retrograde. I don't know if anybody's ever experienced that, but usually computers don't work as well. There's lots of misunderstandings and miscommunications. And then it's a great time to do all the reactivities, reinforce and reconsider and republish, rewrite, release, relax. And then when Mercury goes direct, then we can shoot out the gate. We're completely ready for this. So that's riding the waves of the atmosphere that the Earth is in. We're in an atmosphere as a planet, not just an atmosphere as a body in here. There's a larger climate. And as we continue to expand our awareness, then it's easier to ride this stuff. Surfers know what I mean, because there's powers and they can tell the power of a wave. And when you ride that wave, you need different types of board. I need a long board. I need a short board. I'm using a skim board, whatever. So we can ride these waves. It makes it a lot more fun. And today's a good day to do that. So my highest wishes for all of us. I know the potential is there. So let's focus on the end result, the end that we want, and then the path will be revealed. Just keep calibrating. All right.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Peace.